days when I was a junior high school student.
Wow.
One morning during summer vacation, after my father went to work, my mother and I decided to visit my maternal grandmother, who lived in a rural area. Since my grandmother's house was located in the countryside, getting there required making a left turn, then driving for 5 minutes through a narrow, one-car wide, unpaved road. There were rice fields and forest on the sides of the unpaved road. As soon as we arrived, I greeted my grandmother and went into my youngest uncle's room.
My God.
I used to like visiting my
A
grandmother's house
computer.
because my uncle was a huge gaming fan, and his computer was much better than mine at home. So once I confirmed my uncle was at work, I turned on his computer and started playing Doom 3, which used to be the most popular game once upon a time. After playing the game for about an hour or two, my uncle returned from work. Upon his arrival, my grandmother asked him to take her grocery shopping, since my mother, my aunt, and I were visiting her house. So at about
Sorry about that. I was just
Upon his arrival, my grandmother asked him to take her grocery shopping, since my mother, my aunt, and I were visiting her house. So at about 7 p.m., they all drove to town to do some grocery shopping. I was super excited and waved goodbye to them. Since I think it is unnecessary to explain why I was excited, I'll just leave it. After enjoying about 90 minutes of free time, my uncle called. He said he was about to turn left on the road, but one of the front wheels was punctured, and asked me to bring him a new tire which was in the storage shed. As I said before, after making that left turn, it took about 5 minutes to drive through a narrow, unpaved single-lane road to see my grandmother's house, but it took about 20.
First of all, how the heck do you not see that blue blanket? Obviously somebody's under there. Come on. Run! Just get your Adidas and run, my guy.
To 30 minutes on foot. Now that I think about it, it was quite scary to walk on that road, especially at night. It had no streetlights and was surrounded by rice fields and forest. It was almost 9 p.m., and that area got quite dark at about 8 because it was in the country. So to be honest, I was really scared, but not wanting anyone to know I was a coward, I decided to go. I grabbed the tire, left the house, and started walking along the unpaved road. I could see my uncle shining his car's headlights toward me. That said,
You sure that's your uncle? You sure? You sure about that, right?
he was still quite far away from me, and the headlights looked like two big yellow dots.
Oh, it absolutely is him, I think.
I was a bit relieved, knowing my uncle and family were on the other end of this road, but the night was dark, which deepened my fear. You know, when you walk in the darkness, your eyes adjust,
You better start running. Run!
and you start to see unclear shapes. I felt like I could see someone standing in the rice field, and someone sitting down, resting his chin on his hands, and looking at me through the bushes. I broke out in
Time out. Just
sitting down, resting his chin on his hands, and looking at me.
Dib! That thing looks like the... Oh my... That thing looks like the Venom. Except more scary.
Through the bushes. I broke out in a cold sweat and held my legs to keep them from shaking. It felt scarier than being alone on a pitch dark night, and because of the fear and the delusion I had created, I remember feeling really dizzy. After walking for about 20 minutes, I looked towards my uncle's car and realized I was nearly there. Feeling happier, I rolled the tire faster. I rushed to hand over the tire to him as soon as possible, but saw something in front of me. I wasn't sure what it was because it was still a bit away from me.
No. 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 What the heck are you doing? Run the other direction. Bro, I would be in Africa by now, my guy. Not even.
But it was something dark. Suddenly, I felt strange and slowed down. Since I wanted to determine what it was while still having some distance, I strained my head and neck trying to look carefully, but it was too dark. Although I was scared, I started to walk again, thinking, nothing is going to happen because I have my uncle and family about 300 meters.
Why does that look like the grandma? Is like the grandma actually that? Dang, the grandma looks mental.
Away. But when I got closer to it, I stopped because it became clearly visible. It was an old woman squatting with her mouth open, looking at the rice fields. I could only see the side of her face, but my whole body shivered because her blank facial expression with her mouth open was now clearly visible in the darkness. Without realizing it, I walked really close to the old... Since I don't understand...
So basically what you're telling me is you're messed up.
Walking by without saying anything seemed...
Sorry guys, shadow keeps on going on. So whenever that goes on, I have to edit that out.
really close to the old woman, for reasons I don't understand. Walking by without saying anything seemed even scarier, so I started talking to her. With a frightened voice, I asked, "Excuse me, what are you doing here at night?" But she did not respond and kept looking at the rice field. On the verge of crying, I shouted, "Excuse me!" She then looked at me.
No. Why are you still there? I said it like 50 times. No means no. Run. I'm done with you.
And I felt my heart tightening. Even though it was dark, I could clearly see she had permed white hair, and I could only see the white parts of her eyes. The scariest...
Then she's probably blind, so you can dip. Go on, run.
thing were the huge wrinkles and stains covering her face and her wide open mouth. I felt strange, like I was going crazy while looking at her. I had eye contact.
Oh, well, dang, I thought that you said that she didn't have any pupils and iris.
But was looking down while she was looking up at me. After a few moments of eye contact, she turned her body toward me. Oh my gosh, I thought she was sitting down. But realized she had no lower body. She only had a torso and head which was supported.
What? Okay, not to be rude, but what? You can have both of your legs amputated? I mean, assuming that they got amputated, not like tortured, cut off, you know. I didn't even know that. Sorry for all those people.
From the ground with 2 arms. A flood of thoughts crossed my mind, but I remember thinking, there is Satan right in front of me. I felt like she was going to run into me with her 2 arms if I didn't move, so I grabbed the tire in my arms and sprinted with my eyes closed tightly. Without remembering how long I'd been running, I suddenly felt relieved. It was the next morning, and I was in my grandmother's room. When I asked my mother what happened, she said she was waiting for me in the car and saw me sprinting with my head down, holding the tire in my arms, and suddenly fell off the road, causing my family to come out of the car in shock.
Wait, what? Wait, all of his family went out? Oh, wow. No wonder. What a treat. What a treat.
After listening to my mother, I told her and my other family members what I went through. Thinking I had suffered a heat stroke, that evening my grandmother made me chicken soup. My uncle told me to stop
Lucky.
playing horror games and wouldn't let me play Doom 3 anymore. From then on, I could only play a Star Wars racing game while staying at my grandmother's house. I still believe it was not a ghost that I saw that day. It was just an illusion caused by my mental weakness.
Oh, okay, well, dang. Park Sealand. Well, bye, I guess, you guys.